Hello, I'm the 10-minute English teacher. Let's get you exam ready. Today we're thinking about love and relationships poetry for AQA GCSE English literature, and I'm going to be thinking about Mother Any Distance by Simon Armitage. Before we get going, don't forget to like and subscribe. There are plenty of videos to help you revise for both English language and English literature. Let's get you exam ready. Okay, so Mother Any Distance by Simon Armitage. So we're going to start by thinking about what the poem's about. So the speaker explores the moment their mother comes to their new home to measure walls and floors, a moment that is both terrifying and exciting. It's a poem that explores the love we have for our parents. And here is the poem now. You'll have a quick reading from me, and then we're going to think about the themes, the structure, and the key uses of language in the poem. Mother Any Distance by Simon Armitage. Mother, any distance greater than a single span requires a second pair of hands. You come to help me measure windows, pelmets, doors, the acres of the walls, the prairies of the floors. You at the zero end, me with the spool of tape, recording length, reporting metres, centimetres back to base, then leaving up the stairs, the line still feeding out, unreeling years between us. Anchor, kite. I spacewalk through the empty bedrooms, climb the ladder to the loft, to breaking point where something has to give. 2 floors below your fingertips still pinch the last 100th of an inch. I reach towards a hatch that opens on an endless sky to fall or fly. Mother Any Distance by Simon Armitage. So let's think now about how we would structure our response if we were in the exam. So the first thing you should do when you're comparing two poems is write a paragraph that tells us about how they relate to the theme in the question. So you tell us about the poems and what they're about, but you be concise. So I'd recommend not starting with your analysis of quotes and structure. Start by just relating the two poems to the question. So here's how I might do that. Mother Any Distance is a poem about parental relationships and the pain that comes with moving on and gaining independence in later life. The speaker recalls measuring a new home with his mother, which is an exciting time, but also one tainted with feelings of fear and loss because he's moving on. Once I've done that, the next thing I need to do is think about how the structure of the poem is effective. So I do that for both poems. And here's an example of what I might write for Mother Any Distance. Armitage achieves an uncertain tone with the uses of caesura and his choice of irregular metre. It's a time of change and the mixed emotions would be disorientating, which is reflected in that structure. So it's a poem that's got an irregular metre. We haven't got the pattern of a rhyme scheme as well. So maybe that's reflecting the uncertainty of the situation. And here's the only flashcard you should need for Mother Any Distance. So a bit of a abridged version of my analysis of structure there, and a guide to the themes and what the poem's about is provided. And in the yellow text on either side of the title there, you can see 4 key quotes to know for the poem. You don't need to know what every single line means, and you don't need to know what a pelmet is, but you do need to know 4 quotes confidently. So if you're called on Mother Any Distance, you know what to say. So we've got, I spacewalk through the empty bedrooms, and that metaphor is eliciting thoughts of fear and panic, as well as adventure and discovery to reflect those conflicting feelings. If you were having a spacewalk, that would be something that would be amazing and inspiring and a once-in-a-lifetime moment, but at the same time, you'd feel very vulnerable and alone. We've got anchor, kite, and the idea that the speakers enjoyed freedoms in their life but has always had the security of their mother's support is being alluded to in this metaphor. And it also matches up to the image of the tape measure being held when she leaves. He will be alone, or they will be alone. But this is likely about Armitage's experience. It's a poem that's written for his mother. We've got the prairies of the floors, and this metaphor is reflecting how small and vulnerable the speaker feels, but it's also got allusions to adventure as well as isolation. So the idea of mixed feelings is being explored in all of these uses of metaphor. So prairies, inspiring place to visit, but at the same time, you'd feel quite alone and isolated there. So those 2 conflicting feelings are being explored in that metaphor. And we've got, I reach towards a hatch that opens towards an endless sky to fall or fly. This is the end focus of the poem, and the idea that the speaker is either going to succeed and thrive or fail to live independently is being explored here. So this is a metaphor that alludes to birds leaving the nest. Some fly and some fail to survive without their mothers, and that's that feeling of insecurity and vulnerability being reflected at the end of the poem. Okay, if you want to take it further, write in full sentences to aid your revision. After having watched this video, you should now know the answer to these questions. So who is the speaker? What's their frame of mind? What situation are they in? What's the key use of language in the poem and what does it communicate? You should be able to recall those 4 key moments in the poem, those 4 uses of language. I suggest you commit those to memory and maybe revisit that flashcard or make your own flashcard using that you've just seen. What structure does the poem have and what effect does this have? So you should know those key terms and be able to use those and explain what effect they have. What ideas about love does the poem communicate? We're talking about love that we have for our parents in this particular poem. And what's the context of the poem? Okay, feel free to check out the other videos on my channel. I'll continue to add content and feel free to tell me about something you'd like to see in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and keep revising.